Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Love Therapy. Today, we're going to continue with our topic tools for your family and love life. Today, we're talking about the 14th tool, which is money. Money is a faithful expression of your personality, responsibility, and spirituality. In short, money plays a very important role in our day-to-day life. So we can't really escape money because you use it daily to pay your bills, send your kids to school. In short, marriage will always be connected with your finances. It goes hand in hand. Actually, one of the top five reasons why marriages go bad is because of financial problems. Sometimes a couple, they have not worked out prior to the marriage a good arrangement about how to conduct money. And then money that's supposed to be a tool to help you can become a big problem. A good example of that is when you have a couple that um, they start dating, they get to know one another, they like one another, but they never took notice of how the person was spending or what their habits were, their money habits were, their spending habits were. And sometimes people don't take that into consideration. They go into a relationship, they end up getting married, and then suddenly something that they never discussed can become something very important and even becoming something destructive that can ruin the marriage. So don't take it lightly. Pay close attention today to what we're going to share with you. Money is a faithful expression of your personality, responsibility, and spirituality. All right, so money expresses your personality. So when we talk about personality, I'm thinking about um, there are people, they are they could be categorized as spenders, and on the other hand, you have people that may be labeled as savers. And if you're in a relationship and you happen to be a saver and your partner is a spender, and maybe sometimes they spend more than they should spend, though they have a job, they may justify that by saying, "Oh, I'm earning my salary, so I can afford it, I can spend." That's easily spoken and said when you're single. But when you get married and when you're together, you have projects and plans together. If you got kids, you got extra responsibilities. Then you, that is a saver, you may not be very happy when your partner is spending beyond what you have agreed or beyond what is healthy. And maybe because of that, if your partner has a spending habit, maybe because of that, you've not been able to pay the mortgage, you're not being able to finish certain projects or purchase your house. Perhaps in a moment of a financial crisis, you don't have any savings. So you may feel very frustrated, to say the very least. So we understand that a person's the way a person handles money um, speaks volumes about their personality. And we could say that by looking at the bank balance, the money you have in the bank, it reveals as well much about the marriage. It speaks about how healthy the marriage is, or whether the marriage is going through great stress. Maybe you are a person like that. You're going through a huge amount of stress in your marriage. Your bank balance is in the red, or it's not in a good way, and most likely that will affect the marriage immediately.
And if a person is a saver and the other is a spender, it doesn't necessarily mean that the marriage cannot work. Okay, because actually, if they come and adjust, they fine tuned their vision about their finances, actually can balance out. You don't need to be a person that is stingy, but also you don't need to be a person that is overspending. So you can find a common ground. Money should not break your marriage. If you have a seat and you adjust your priorities, you adjust your goals, your future. But if you don't deal with these issues, and that's where the problem many times starts, there is no conversation about money. There is only decision making without consultation of one another. And that's where the friction, the problem starts. So one wants to spend, does not have a vision of the future. One only thinks the here and now, what I want here and now, and the other is thinking about the future, and then it starts to have this kind of friction. But it doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah, of course, every problem has a solution. Every positive has a negative. Every negative has a positive. Meaning to say, if you happen to be prudent, careful, you use your head and you plan, you save for a rainy day, yeah? You try to be as responsible as possible, and perhaps your partner is more proactive, taking a bit more risks, sometimes a bit impulsive, right? Your partner may have other qualities, yeah? Different qualities. Now, if you put both qualities together, you help one another. Right? You can add something to your partner, what your partner doesn't have. They can benefit from you. But the other way around, you may have certain, let's say, shortcomings, or you may lack certain experiences that your partner can bring to the table. So that's not all negative. And some of the strongest couples are couples that make use of one another's qualities, and thereby they are able to cover their weaknesses. Look at that. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has strength and shortcomings. You can cover your shortcomings in a marriage, not by hiding it, but allowing the qualities of your partner to play a role, an important part in your life. And by the way, you're working the marriage together. So you want to bring, I want to bring my very best qualities into the marriage. My wife, she wants to bring her very best qualities into the marriage, so that both of us, we can thrive and we can make the most of that. And I want to take, let's say, my shortcomings, and I don't want to push my shortcomings to her into the marriage, or I don't want her to suffer because of my shortcomings, and vice versa. And when you have two people that are on the same page and they have the same mindset, the same spirit, that's why it's so important for a couple to be born of the Spirit because they have the mind of God. And when two people have the mind of God, they want to bring what is good into each other's life. When a person is not yet born of God and they are still flesh, they will multiply, replicate, and transfer flesh. It could be nervousness, could be pride, it could be arrogance, ego. Sometimes a person doesn't want to listen to their partner. They want their partner just to copy what they do. And that's unfair because there are no two people alike. So here we talk about money that is a faithful expression of your personality, responsibility, and spirituality. Now let's continue. Money is your responsibility. So again, when we talk about money, the way we handle money also reveals whether a person is responsible or irresponsible. And if you are watching today, singles, pay close attention to that. Because most single people that are spiritual, they're looking for someone that is spiritual. They're looking for somebody that can take care of them. Talking about single ladies, they're looking for a man that is spiritual, responsible, and someone that will look after them. Because they're going to leave their parents' home, and now they're going to be joined with this man. They're going to build a family together. And they want to make sure, can he take care of me? Can he fulfill his promise? One of the clearest ways for you to discover whether that person is responsible is how the person handles money, how the person handles their commitments, how the person fulfills their promises. That's a very good indicator. It's like a very good way for you to know the character of that person. Let's say it's something that will reveal to you before you get married what's going to happen later on, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, they don't see that because normally in the moment of dating, couples, they don't talk much about money. That's not the most important thing. And sometimes they may even humbly communicate with one another like, look, money is not the most important thing. Well, the most important thing is for you and me to be together, for us to be happy.
Sometimes we see wives frustrated because they are the breadwinners, and they have to be pushing the husband for them to make decisions, to think about the future. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of friction in marriages because of that, because the wife expects the husband to make the decisions, the most important decisions in life, taking care of the family, looking after the kids. But we can see that the husband sometimes doesn't do that job, and then the wife becomes frustrated and takes the lead of everything, not because she wants, but because the husband has not been that leader, leading the household. Mm-hmm. So it's very, very difficult for a wife who has a husband that does not take this responsibility for her to trust the husband. Sometimes husbands, they don't trust the wives because of that. Mm-hmm. Because the wife always makes decision in front of them. How many wives I have spoken that they told me that before They made decisions like buying land, building a house without even consulting the husband. But why? Because they had this objective, was never spoken about prior to the marriage. They didn't deal with these differences before the marriage, and then what happened? This happens, and now they are growing apart, always fighting, arguing over money decisions.
Yeah. But I have to be honest with you as well that surely before you got married, there were signs.
Mm-hmm.
There were signs, but maybe you didn't see the signs because your eyes were looking at other things. But surely there were signs about the husband or the wife, can be any of them. They revealed what they thought about money, because money is an extension of who we are. What we do with our money reveals who we are. What we spend it on. By the way, people have freedom to do whatever they want with their money, but it tells a story. It tells a story. What we do with our money tells a story about the person.
And speaking about responsibility with money, we think about, for example, another common problem is when the wife comes to work abroad, leaves the husband looking after their land, working, doing his best, what he can do back home. But the wife comes here and because of a friend puts herself into trouble, is not responsible with the finances and accepts to be a guarantor, accepts to take loans in the bank for the friends, for family members. And then what happens? The husband gets disappointed because now she cannot send money back home, or if she sends money back home, is less than what was supposed to support the children, and then it becomes a friction. Why? Because the wife was not responsible with the finances, and vice versa. The husband, the same thing. Also, there are husbands that they work abroad and they get involved because there is a lot of temptation. We always often hear this word, there is a lot of temptation, and they are not responsible with their finances, and they use on addictions with friends, and not sending to the family, get involved with other relationships, which also taking up the money from them, and then the family, the real family, stays there troubled because the financial support was not sent. So being responsible with money is knowing why are you working, what are you working for, what is your goal, what is the purpose. Have you done that with an agreement with your spouse? So follow that agreement.
Yeah, there's a saying that goes, tell me who your friends are and I tell you who you are. Birds of the same feather flock together. You heard about that. I would say, related to our topic today, tell me how you spend your money and I know who you are. It's very powerful. But singles, let's go back to the singles. The singles are watching. The way your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or future boyfriend, future girlfriend, how they deal with, how they use money, tells a lot about their character, their story, who they are, and what's going to happen in the future. Think about that. Let's continue with the last indicator. Money expresses your spirituality. In which way? Very simple. Is money your servant, or is money your master? talking about master, is money your God? If money is your God, then you will do anything for money, including lying, cheating, stealing, and whatever necessary, because money is your master, it's your God. So you're willing to put your own salvation at risk. And there's a very big difference, because when money is our servant, we use it to improve our life, to better our family. But it's not our God, it's not our master, which means it will never be more important than our salvation. And this can be very well transferred to the marriage. So money is important in a marriage, but money cannot be more important than the relationship, the marriage between two people. Money issues, money matters, money decisions, they are important, because one bad decision will also bring a lot of headache and pain and unnecessary tribulations.
And money is related to spirituality, because you see, a spiritual person is one that follows the word of God, obeys the word of God, trusts the word of God. And we can see that many decisions referring to money, sometimes it doesn't please God. And the person just, for example, when they face a problem, they receive a phone call, and then they say, oh, there is this situation. And instead of the person resorting to God, what they do? They panic, and straight away they go to the bank, get a loan, or call a friend, or ask the employer for help. They consult the bank manager, they consult the finance company, they consult the friends, even the employer, to ask for a handout, but they don't consult God. That shows a lack of trust. So in a lack of trust, you know how spiritual a person is.
Yeah. So let me bring you to this Bible verse here to conclude. What do you spend money for? Why do you spend money for what is not bread, and your wages for what does not satisfy? Listen carefully to me, and eat what is good, and let your soul delight itself in abundance. So, in short, to recap, if you want to know a person's spirituality, then look at the relationship they have with money. To recap for the singles, if you want to know your boyfriend, your girlfriend is spiritual or not, look at their relationship with money. Then you will know their spirituality. Yeah, because whoever does not spend money on what is bread, what is needed, what is important, they will spend it on what is unimportant. And after you get married, after you finish the honeymoon, right? And the reception with a beautiful cake and all your family members together, that wonderful moment, then the couple will have to face the reality, day-to-day life, paying bills, facing the stress, the daily stress, going to work. Then you are in the real world. You're not in a bubble. You have to face a real situation where both of you need to be a team to face the many problems that you will encounter. Small problems, big problems, Certain situations are part of life. And if you're not both on the same page, if you're not both spiritual, if you're not both responsible, if you're not both, as we can say, with a personality that is of the Spirit of God, the mind of God, then you're going to have a lot of headaches. Okay? So, this is our love therapy for this week. And if you want to join the prayer for the family, you can join us this weekend here at the Help Center. You can scan the QR code, get in touch with us, bring your family photographs, bring the pictures of your children, your spouse. We'll be praying together. If you are single and you need direction and guidance, maybe you're dating, bring your doubts, bring your minds to the altar and receive guidance from the altar. Okay? Thank you for watching. Join us again next week. May all of you have a very blessed weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.